The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 57. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of successful women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Subscribe to our newsletter by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap-Chan, and today I have a special lady on today. We know each other from a book that's going to be launching out soon. It might be launching out by the time this episode comes out, but, it's a book about, it's called The Anthology, and it's about, women's stories, just empowering other women to take action in their own lives. So we're pretty excited for that to come out. And, this lady is a writer, community reporter, and a random ranter. And, she's just so amazing. So, because she's also a seasoned podcaster, she gave me tips and stuff and what to do. And, it's just women helping other women out. And it's just a great environment to be in. I would love to introduce you to Michelle A. Dowell-Vest. Michelle, how are you doing today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself with the listeners.
I'm wonderful, Sheena. How are you?
Good.
Good. Gosh, let's see. So I am a writer. People ask us to write our bios or give us their taglines or, what we are. And that's always very difficult for me because I feel like I do a gabillion things. But when it comes down to it, I am, like you said, a writer, community reporter, and random ranter. What that really means is that I am a blogger. I do write at my blog site called A Girl's Guide. I also write for a lesbian and queer magazine here in DC called Tag Magazine. And community reporter, I like to talk about what's happening in our community, whether it's the local community, whether it's what's happening in our local or even national government. And really I share a lot of things that are happening to keep people kind of in the loops. I'm always looking for a good story to tell, something that even might encourage somebody. And then a random ranter, I'm just a loudmouth. And I have tons of opinions and I share them. And that's kind of what that's about. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. I don't think being loud is a bad thing, right? I mean, it's just being able to speak our voice and be confident enough to do it. So,
absolutely.
So what's your cultural background?
So I'm a mixed bag of Sicilian, Irish, and Cherokee, and just really a little bit of all of those. And probably, not one is more dominant than the other, but that's kind of where I come from.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. And Michelle, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
My favorite self-confidence vote would be that my voice matters. It took me a long time to find my voice and even longer to believe that it mattered. And I think that a lot of women go through that, especially when you have had difficult or challenging things happen in your life. Oftentimes we're silenced by those challenges. And if we don't go through a process of discovering our voice, oftentimes messages that we're supposed to give the world just don't get told. And so my favorite self-confidence quote is that my voice matters.
I love that because, a lot of women are afraid to speak their voice, especially, society tells us to act a certain way. I don't want women thinking that it's too late to share your voice, because to me, it's never too late, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what age you're at, what stage you're in, your voice will always matter. So, you're better off just speaking the truth or speaking what you love. So I really, really love that. Thanks for sharing it. And what would be your definition of self-confidence?
My definition of self-confidence is the ability to show up unapologetically in your truth and transparent to the world. To really just stand naked in who you really are without feeling the need to apologize for it.
Thank you. I think as women, we're known to apologize for every single thing. I don't know if you're like that, but I, sometimes when I go to the store and I accidentally bump into someone, it's like I apologize right away. And unconsciously, it's not like I did it on purpose, but we're just so programmed to just keep on apologizing for stuff, even if it's not our fault. So I really love that you said that, you can speak your voice unapologetically. I was trying to say that really fast, but it didn't work out.
It's not one of those words.
Yeah. It's like those tongue twisters. But no, I really love that definition. And I'm glad you said that to our listeners, right? So what was your life like before the discovery of self-confidence?
I think before I discovered my own self-confidence, I lived to please others. I hid the truth about my sexuality and who I was, and I depended on religion for my self-worth.
Wow. Sorry, I kind of had a little. Sometimes
that was a lot.
You hear stories and you kind of sit there and kind of process it at the same time, because not too many people talk about this, right? Especially when you said you're hiding your sexuality. I mean, there's a ton of women or men out there who, hide in the closet, right? They never, bring themselves out there because maybe they're ashamed or maybe, they think people will laugh at them. And, I like that you're there speaking the truth, being able to come out now, right? Living the life that you want because you're probably more free. And, what was that aha moment when you realized, you can be who you want to be. You can go out there and be proud of who you are.
Gosh, there was, when you asked me this question before, I sat with it for a minute and I had to, there's not just one, maybe some people just have one aha moment where their life changes forever, but I actually had a series of them. I think one of them is when I came out, right? And I decided that my truth is more important than others' opinions of it. And I was able to stand in that truth and go, this is who I am. I don't really care what you think. You don't get to tell me what my life should be, and you don't get to set the rules for my life. And then that happened when I was about 32. And just a little bit of background from it. I come from a background of, I was raised in the church. I spent a lot of time in the church. And it was kind of a mix of Southern Baptist, Assemblies of God, and Kojic Pentecostal. So it's, that very holy roller type of, Jesus freak kind of mentality where, you're supposed to be totally sold out to God, and everything that is not in the church is of the world, and it's bad for you, and you're going to hell. It was really like that kind of upbringing. And so for me to come out as a gay woman in that environment, or to kind of separate because I knew that I was gay and I needed to come out, that was a long process for me. And I didn't come out until I was about 30. No, I would say about 29. And I'm 41 now. So it took me a long time. It took me more than one marriage because I really, really, really tried to be straight. I tried to, live the life that I was supposed to live according to other people. And when I just couldn't do it anymore, I really decided that, my truth is more important than others' opinions of it. When it kind of came to my aha moment about my voice, it was actually really simple. I was walking in the park with a friend of mine, and we were talking about an ex-girlfriend and how I just felt stifled in conversation with her about what I really wanted and setting boundaries and speaking my truth with her and how I wanted our relationship to go. And she said, Michelle, you have to speak your mind because believe me, everybody else is going to do that, and their opinions and their thoughts and their mind and what they're thinking is no more important than yours. And I think it was at that moment that I said, you're absolutely right. Why am I minimizing my voice to accommodate other people when it's not my truth and it's not how I feel and it's not what I want? And so I think from that moment on, I made a decision to always speak my truth. And that always hasn't been the most easy thing to do. Sometimes people don't like it when you speak your truth or when you set boundaries or when you say this is what's okay with me and this is what's not. I think another time that my aha moment is when I decided that religion was more of a control mechanism than a path to freedom. I learned really at that point to trust my own intuition and my own understanding of the world. And that came from actually attending Bible college for about a year. I went in like this diehard Christian and I came out this agnostic with so many more questions and so much more doubt about what I had been taught about faith and about religion. And I think from that moment on, I decided that I didn't identify with the Christian faith anymore. I didn't want to be part of that. And it wasn't conducive to my personal freedom, regardless of what they taught me about Christ and about, that whole process of salvation. It didn't resonate with me anymore. And then I think the final aha moment for me was that when I decided that my joy and my happiness was more important than holding on to pain that was caused to me by others or lies that I had believed about myself. And I think that was the final straw for me was, we go through life and we go through circumstances and we hold on to pain and we hold on to things that have created what we think about ourselves. And so when I figured out that a lot of what I believed about myself and a lot about what I believed about the world was not reality and it was a lie and it wasn't the truth about it, I sat down this path to really dissect my life and how I was showing up in the world and to recreate truths about what I had previously believed about the world and myself. And I think that was my final aha moment, which has kind of brought me to where I am today.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing those series of aha moments. I love that you said you had not just one, but a series, because some women might have one or two or three or 100, right? And, especially when it comes to speaking your voice and pleasing others, as women, especially if we have a significant other, we tend to, please the partner, right? Maybe because we're afraid if we rock the boat, they might leave us, right? I've been guilty of it, right? I would always never want to fight with a boyfriend because I was always so afraid that he might leave me, right? And in the end, it still didn't work out. So, you're better off just speaking your voice. And, if that person cannot accept you for who you are, then that's not the right person for you, right? So
exactly.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So what's your life like now after all those series of aha moments?
Life after discovering kind of what, and again, it's been a journey, right? It's been not one but a several, and so specifically after the last point that I made, where I kind of set on this journey to rediscover things about myself, and that has been challenging. So deciding to be authentic and live in self-confidence really is just the beginning of a long journey of discovering patterns of self-sabotage, and then relearning new tools of self-confidence. So you got to undo what you had, and then you have to relearn how to walk in the world with confidence. It's hard to look at our pain, and it's hard to face it. And sometimes it's hard to face the things we've done, or it's hard to face, even the things that we've done to ourselves, let alone other people. It's even harder to sit in it and to be present with it. But it's the standing in it, it's being present with it that teaches us the most about ourselves. And so I'm grateful for those moments. I learned who I was there. It was those, through those relearning of how to show up in the world with self-confidence and using my voice. That's where I really learned who I was. And so I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, not too many people realize they have to unlearn and relearn a lot of things to get the positive programming in their minds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like a computer, right? If you have a virus, it's just going to spread. But if you, reformat it, take it out, and put new stuff in, that's how it works, right? That's how our brains work. So thanks for sharing that. And to the woman who's listening to your story, she's pumped, she's inspired because, if she sees what's possible in you, then she can see what's possible in herself. And she's in her own journey of self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I think that you have to always find the source. So I would say to look for and find the source of your lack of self-confidence. Where did it begin? Who contributed to it? When did you decide that they were right? Why did you decide that they were right? Why did you believe them? So you got to find that source of where your lack of self-confidence came from. And after you find the source, then I need you to, this is what I did, right? So I sat with it. Just not so that I can kind of feel that pain or feel that situation over again, but to really understand it so that I could gain power over it. And it was in that power then I could reinterpret the pain and then reinterpret or interpret the healing that comes from that. And it's in that healing that self-confidence is born. And then it doesn't have to be done alone, like in people who love you or even professionals or, but just really you have to go back and discover where the start of your lack of self-confidence came from, because when you dig that up and when you get rid of that or you reinterpret that, then you can then walk in power. And until then, I think you'll just be living those same circles of lack of self-confidence or self-esteem issues or, believing lies about yourself that either society or other people or even yourself have told about you. But you have to go back and find that source of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Michelle, if anybody wants to get to know you a little bit more, check your rants, your reports, where can we connect with you? Is there a website, any social media profiles?
Sure. There's a couple of things. So my Twitter is A Girl's Guide, and it's spelled AGURLZGUIDE. And my website is agirlsguide.org. It's the same spelling, AGURLZGUIDE.org. And you can also I'm launching a new business in January called City Nooks. It is a travel magazine, an online travel agency, something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I figured I would take what I love to do, what I want to do more of, and what I'm passionate about, which is writing. I want to travel more, and I love encouraging people, and marry those three things and create an online travel magazine and agency. So you can also find me at CityNooks, CityNooks.com. And I'm on Facebook at Michelle A. Dowell-Vest, DOWELL-VEST.
Awesome. Well, I'm pretty sure your newly launched business in January is going to just take off, right? Because, you're so passionate about it. I just believe it's going to be a success. So
thank you.
You're welcome. To the listeners out there, feel free to head over to thetowofselfconfidence.com and search for Michelle's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Michelle for taking the time to share her story with us. It was a very amazing story. I just love that you were able to come out of a dark time, be able to speak your voice now. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. And thank you for the show. I think that it is very much needed. And I know that a lot of women are going to be encouraged by what you're doing here. So thank you, Sheena, for believing in yourself enough to launch this podcast. I think it's amazing. Well done.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And to the listeners out there, be on the lookout for another new episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Check out our resources to help you jumpstart your inner journey to self-confidence by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com.